Hello and welcome to Bread and Butter TV. This is the final stop in our whistle-stop tour of Heathcote, following the trail of the women in wine here in Heathcote. And it's my absolute pleasure to be standing here right now. I've left the best to last, I think. This is Madeleine Marson from Vinea Marson, right here where we are with the birds that are currently flying off to have a bit of a feast on the beautiful grapes that are perfect right now, right? So you can hear gas guns going off all over the place to try and scare the birds away. We're right in the middle of vintage here in Heathcote at the moment, and we've actually been dragging our winemakers away from a lot of serious work.
It's okay.
Yeah. So tell us, what's your day entail as a winemaker in the middle of vintage in Heathcote?
Look, it can get pretty busy. So a normal day, if we're picking, will start at 7 a.m. With the crews going out with us and our picking bins and buckets. We'll pick till about 2 or 3, depending on what variety and what clone we're working with on the day. Bring it into the winery, chill it overnight, and then the processing begins. So it's a pretty varied day, pretty varied week, but it's always great fun, and you can generally guarantee it'll be about 12 to 14 hours. So hard work, but really, really rewarding. So it's exciting. There's a lot of anticipation, what you're going to bring in, how the fruit will look, how much you're going to get, all of that. So,
and look, there has been a bit of a ripple I've been sensing right through the whole region that this year's going to be one of the best, that all of the conditions have been perfect.
Look, 2020 was a pretty difficult year with the smoke looming from the bushfires and then lower crops. So to have the early winter rain that we had in 2020 and then to come into this year, it's been a rebound that we didn't quite expect. So we're really excited and enthused, and we head up to the Alpine Valleys to get a little bit of our white wines, and then we really hit the ground running in Heathcote in 2 to 3 weeks for our property. So
so down the further away, or down the hill, I suppose, is it? If it gets a little bit longer, like the later and later with the picking.
Yeah. So we generally pick maybe a week or 2 later than some Heathcote wineries. But also we have a little bit of water, so that can delay things slightly. We've had a slower ripening season this year. We haven't had the really hot summer temperatures.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, we're pretty happy. You want the mix of day, nighttime temperatures, that diurnal range, particularly for varieties like Sangiovese. It's really helpful.
Speaking of which,
Shall I pour?
Now, I asked Madeleine to bring out her favourite wine from the Vinea Marson range, and tell us about it.
So it's our 2016 Sangiovese. Sorry, the dog's just wandering in. You might hear some clip-clops of her paws. But Sangiovese is the reason our family moved from my dad being based in the Yarra Valley up to Heathcote. So in the mid-90s, we were all in Italy. He was doing a vintage in France. And when we were in Tuscany, he said, if I can grow Sangiovese, I will go and start my own brand. So
tell us about your dad.
So Mario, my father, I always call him Mario, get into a bit of trouble for that, has been in the industry. It's his 41st vintage this year.
Wow.
Predominantly down in the Yarra Valley, and, a bit of a Pinot Chardonnay specialist, as well as Cabernet varieties. But really from the mid-90s, this passion for his Italian heritage and for these varieties, Nebbiolo and Sangiovese in particular, came to the fore, and that's how he ended up in Heathcote. So
fantastic. It's a delicious drop.
It's a beautiful medium-bodied wine. It is our best seller at the cellar door and in trade, and made in a very old world style. So there's a couple of years of bottle age as well as that 12 months in barrel, and perfect midweight wine to enjoy.
With the spread, and I'm not sure if you guys can see all of these yummy things here, but there's one that's particularly, like, just as soon as I saw it, I had to try it. Tell us about this puppy.
So a lot of what we do food-wise at the cellar door is stuff I've grown up making and eating. So Dad's quite a chef, and he makes this beautiful Shiraz jelly that
crazy.
we bottle up and sell at one place in Melbourne, but we put it onto our antipasto platters as well. As a child, I grew up eating it on toast, but I think it's really an adult treat.
I think that Mario might have been, bending your palate a little bit from a young age. Bending the palate,
trying to calm down the three rambunctious daughters he's got.
And I want you to tell me about this cheese as well. So I don't know, can you see what's on the outside of this thing? Okay.
So the
next bit.
About 8 years ago, Dad said, I really want to make this cheese like a testo di Barolo, which is a traditional northern Italian cheese coated in the Nebbiolo skins from Piedmont. And he rang around a few people to see if anyone would be interested in making it. And Giorgio Linguanti from That's Amore Cheese came to the party, and they've been making it ever since. So during the ferment, we take some of the leaves, the skins and seeds out. We use the leaves as well, and really coat it on a buffalo milk cheese. So
it's just beautiful. And Giorgio at That's Amore basically revolutionised mozzarella in Melbourne. He's the godfather.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful spread. Is this the sort of thing that people who come here for a wine tasting can expect to see?
Yes. Yeah. So we have the antipasto platters every weekend, and with the growth of, as you've seen, the cellar doors and the tourism offering we have here in Heathcote, we will start some Sunday lunches and have different chefs and some pizzas. We work with the chef from That's Amore as well. So celebrating our Italian heritage and culture. We're not in the most, we're in our tin shed. We've built our cellar door and that. And to me, it's like the Italian family gatherings in the garage.
It's actually feeling pretty Northcote kind of with all the concrete as well. We've got the Italian backyard.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll ride that wave, but it's really lovely. Italian hospitality is all about simple things done well, really good fresh produce, great wine in wine glasses or in the traditional water glasses. It's great fun.
So I'm noticing that there's a lot more Italian varietal wines in this region. Do you think that's going to keep growing, and perhaps that Shiraz might not be the predominant wine one day?
It's a subject of great conjecture amongst the winemakers, but I think we recognise that Shiraz is the heart and soul of the region and the history of where we've come. But increasingly, diversity is a big part of what we do, whether that's in alternative varieties, Italian, French and Spanish, Portuguese varieties, or even in the different styles of Shiraz we produce. So for us, the Italians have become, are the core of our brand, but it's exciting to see what everyone is producing. And even more than that, they also suit the reality of our changing climate, that the growing degree days suit these varieties better. The windows that we have for our warmer weather suit them as well.
And let's face it, a medium-bodied red on a day like this is perfect, right? Whereas perhaps a big meaty Shiraz might not be quite right.
I think it's great to have a whole range of varieties in the portfolios of the wineries nowadays, and it means that you can pair with different types of cuisine. So for me, something like Sangiovese is very versatile, and then with our Nebbiolo and our Shiraz, I really like to be quite careful and curated in terms of what I pair it with, because different wines demand different things. So
that's very true.
Yeah.
So what's the next big thing?
I think I know, speaking as someone of Northern Italian heritage, but the Southern Italian varieties are going to be and are an increasingly important part of what we do. We don't produce it ourselves, but I'm really interested to see what Nero d'Avola continues to do in the region, with vine age becoming much more significant. And also the Etna varieties, Nerello Mascalese and Nerello Cappuccio. Really interested to see the plantings of them being,
it sounds so
recently
much better
planted.
when you say it. Like when I say it, I just sound drunk, which I may be after a whole day of wine tasting. No, you do it so beautifully, and it's great to see so many multi-generational families working together, and not just working together on each winery, but working together right through the region. Yeah,
it's very exciting. We were at a dinner last year that was Generations of Heathcote, so that's a fascinating concept. And then the Heathcote Women in Wine being part of the trail as we came out of the COVID lockdowns was really fantastic. So I said to one of the women today, there are so many ways we can tell this fantastic story of what we do up here in Heathcote. So whether it's to come on the Women in Wine Trail or look at the differences between the southern part of the region and the northern, there's so many different ways
different. The country looks different, everything's different.
Yeah, and it allows us to tell a story about sub-regionality as well, that for this really long, thin region, there is that great difference. So,
no, it's fascinating. So if you go onto Facebook and look up Heathcote Women in Wine, you'll be able to get onto all the information that's happening and find the trail map and follow my trail. Check out the stuff that I've been doing today, because there've been some fascinating ladies here in Heathcote. Also, in the next couple of weeks, in the March long weekend, the Labor Day long weekend in Victoria, there's a big event happening in Heathcote where all the winemakers will be in the township plying their wares. There'll be lots of stuff happening up here that weekend. If you're looking for something to do, it's only 90 minutes up the road from Melbourne. It's a really easy drive. And it feels like, because we've crossed the Great Divide, it really does. Hello, I've got a puppy. It really does feel like you're in another part of the world. Like you really do cross over into something different.
It's amazing. You can be coming from Melbourne and the weather's completely different.
Yeah.
So sometimes a rainy day in Melbourne, get on the road up here because it's really quite beautiful and warm, toasty weather. So,
well, it's definitely time to have a nice glass of wine and keep munching on this beautiful Shiraz jelly, and then go to birds. It's middle of vintage here. You've been watching Bread and Butter live on the road through the Heathcote wine region. I'll be back tomorrow morning to check out Heathcote's brewery. And yes, I do have days off alcohol, I promise. Although it doesn't seem like that right now. Thank you so much for joining me on this crazy trip. It's been so much fun. I've done this with the support of the City of Greater Bendigo, who love their wine regions. So they've helped us come up here and share the love. So thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Cheers.